So, hello and welcome to my Wednesday show. We're getting started a little bit late today, but I am super excited to have Tresa on. She's a dear friend and a great client. And I brought her on because she has been working really hard on her business and making a lot of progress, but she also has studied how systems and making things easy make life better. And I think that that's important for entrepreneurs to have those systems, have an ease and some support when you're trying to do something, whether it's health or it's business or it's family. And so, Tresa, thank you for being here today. Could you
Thanks for
tell
having me, Jen.
us? You're welcome. Could you tell us a little bit about what you do and what your business is?
Sure. So I'm a holistic health and fitness coach, Catholic, Christian, everything is faith-based that I do because I really believe that God gave us everything that we need for health and wellness, and that by honoring Him, we can live our best life and be healthy. So I teach people lots of wellness strategies and just really getting back to basics. And one of my favorite things to do is help people to just make healthy, simple meals. I have a YouTube channel. My house is actually under construction. It's being renovated, and my kitchen is still under construction. But I get in there and I cook, and I share what I'm making for dinner or snacks or cookies I'm baking or whatever it is, and I have a lot of fun with it. And that's been a really cool thing. I also teach Christian fitness classes. You've done some of those with me. We do
Yes.
stretching, and I'm getting into a little bit more cardio and weightlifting and stuff. And I just love helping other people to feel healthy and get rid of the toxins, the chemicals, and because people don't understand how simple it can be to be healthy. I say this over and over again. Healthy
Mhm.
can be simple, but they don't know what they don't know. So
Mhm.
I'm just trying to teach them things to make their life simpler and healthier, and then they'll feel better and streamline everything.
Yes. So, could you give us some tips on how you could create like those simple systems or how you can take simple actions to improve your health? Because I think right now a lot of people realize that there's things in our food and our water and our air that we don't like. We want to, our life expectancy is shortening instead of lengthening. And so we want to take care of ourselves and our family, especially as business owners, because it's not where you just call out sick and somebody takes over for you. Like you need to be present to help do that. So that, and it's been a little tough in the grocery store as far as making ends meet and being able to buy what you're used to buying. So what are some, like, give me like the top 5 tips of how we can systematize that and simplify it but still eat better than maybe a lot of us are right now?
Right. Well, I think the thing is that we really want to get back to eating food the way God created it, right? So, real whole foods, eliminate the processed stuff, the packaged stuff, because more and more of that is being bioengineered. And I really try to buy as much organic as possible. And I, I know people say, well, it gets expensive, but honestly, getting sick gets expensive. So if you can, streamline it and find a local farm where you can maybe have a CSA or a local farmer's market. A lot of times, if you go to a farmer's market, at the end of the day, they're trying to get rid of stuff. Or, if you know a local farmer, you might be able to bargain with them. Um, if you, do, we have chickens right here in my backyard right now. So I have local eggs, and I know that you guys do too. So that's awesome. If you can grow a garden, that's even better. But if you can't, just put a few tomato plants and some herbs in pots on your deck or whatever you can do. That's awesome. You want to
Mhm.
get back to as much real food as possible. And I really like to eat seasonally. And one of the things that I love to do is whatever fruits and vegetables are in season, I create meals around that. And I'm super excited because I have an organic farm right around the corner from my new house here, and I'm going to get their spring farm share box. And whatever I get for vegetables, that's how I'm going to eat. So if I've got bok choy, I might make a stir fry for dinner, you know. Um, And that to me is really the best way to eat, and try to eliminate as much as possible. If you can bake your own breads, and it doesn't really take that much time,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to find that you're going to actually save money by not buying so much processed food, and your
Mm-hmm.
family's going to be healthier too. So, and then control the things that you can control, right? Because we can't control everything out there in the environment. We know there's toxins everywhere, but control as much of it as you can to try to be as healthy as possible. But I think getting back to real food, eliminating the processed foods, make sure you're drinking plenty of fresh water, um, and just those really, really basic things. And then cooking from scratch is not that complicated. Go watch some of my YouTube videos because it's really simple. Like, I shared a chicken recipe the other day that literally took me like 20 minutes, and it was so quick and so easy. And it's, chicken thighs right now are much less expensive than chicken breasts. They're
Mm-hmm.
they're really good for you. And I think sometimes thighs can be a little bit tastier, so, and again, if you find a local farmer, you might find a way that you can bargain with them, or you can get some really good.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be careful with meats too. You want to make sure, so local is best, but then from there, try to source at, if you're going to the regular grocery store, try to source more like organic. Some of them do have some local, meats and stuff, local produce. um, and I think you'll find that if you're not buying all that processed stuff, that your budget's going to free up for the organic good stuff.
Yes. And I think that that applies to a lot of things.
Mhm.
That it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simple. I know last winter, vegetable, when we're big vegetable eaters, we did the CSA at our previous home. We were friends with all the farmers, and so we get the big box, and they went all year round because they had greenhouses that they would grow in, and whatever it was that showed up, we would have for supper and breakfast sometimes.
Right.
And I know that there was like a 6-week stretch where every week we were getting mustard greens and hot soy. And I got to tell you, I liked hot soy, but it got to be, and it's like, okay, well, let's find all these amazing different ways that we can learn to eat this. And it makes you more flexible. But I think that some of the keys you brought up that apply to whatever you're dealing with is really having a system, right? And connecting with other people and making it simple. I think we make things so difficult and then it gets hard to keep up with. And that's the way of our modern lives in some way. People have been eating and gardening and running a business and everything for thousands of years, right? But now suddenly we make it very difficult. And then we get overwhelmed and we don't follow through with it. So I love what you're doing. And I love your YouTube channel. I turn it on sometimes. My daughter and I watch it, and I get sometimes I need a little inspiration to figure out what to cook. And so it's always good to go on there because I know that the recipes will be easy to follow. 99% of the ingredients I already have in my pantry. And I can throw something together and find something great to cook. So I think that a lot of these principles have also been applying to how you've been growing your business, though, too, as far as making those connections, simplifying, having systems, and really focusing on, like you said, do what you can do. We can't all do everything.
Right.
We're not, most of us don't have a team like, let's say, Amy Porterfield or Russell Brunson that we
It's just
meet
me.
every day.
Yep.
I wouldn't argue they could show up and run my business. But for most of us, that's not the reality. That's a very small percentage of businesses. So could you share a little bit, because we like to talk about business and life and farming and stuff, about how you've applied some of those principles that you use in your health coaching, cooking, and fitness programs to really building your business recently?
Well, so much of it has to do with working with you, and the platform that you have me, working on, which has been amazing for me as far as simplifying. So, like I say, healthy can be simple. Your business can be simple if you have the right things and you're focusing on the things that you have control of and that you can do. and you're being consistent and you're doing the daily things. So what I love about the platform is that everything's all in one place.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to go to 12 different websites for managing my social media and my funnels and my sales pages and my email. And I can even text people. It's all right there in one place. So I love that so much. And it's made it simpler for me. It's made it more consistent for me. And like you are an amazing support, and you have a great plan for go-to as far as tech support and
Mm-hmm.
all the things that we need. But once I figured one thing out on there, I've been able to figure it out in other places. And like I have a template for my emails, and now I have a plan where I'm scheduling emails every day, and I'm kind of doing like a theme. Every day of the week is a different theme, and I'm carrying that over to my social media and just being consistent with all of it
Mm-hmm.
and connecting with people on Facebook and through my YouTube channel and through all the places. And the plan is coming together so much better for me because of the simplicity of it and how it's just all right there.
Yes.
So it's really
um,
been awesome.
and I think a lot of it is that you focused on the one thing and
Mm-hmm.
then brought in the tools that you needed. And I think that's, when you talk about more holistic living or more self-sufficiency, there's so many things you can do. And then it gets where you can't do everything, right?
Oh yeah. I mean,
I've
I
been there.
could go in 12 different directions, but
Yes.
I need to really just be focused. So right
Yeah.
now I'm focusing on the cooking piece of it
Mm-hmm.
and the healthy eating and then some of the fitness. And I just, give people lots of wellness tips and stuff. But that
Mm-hmm.
all kind of comes together too, because
Yes.
if you want to live healthy, like today I went on and talked about grounding and getting out in nature and getting your hands on a tree or your feet in the grass or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
that all comes together. And that's another thing that's simple, doesn't cost you any money, because right now people are struggling with that too. So
Mm-hmm.
how, just healthy tips. And so yes, and then the system is so simple and just allows me to just pull all those things together in one place. It's great.
Yes. And I think starting from where you are, like the lead funnel scale platform has so many features. I have to be honest, I'm not using all of them because you could do so much.
Yes.
But I've been thinking, I really love to garden. I know you love to garden too.
Yeah.
My son has picked up some passion for gardening. He's decided, and we already have a large garden by most standards. He's decided to expand our garden by a third of an acre. And so it is immense. And it's easy to get into like, well, let's do all these millions of things. And then finally we had to rein it in and say, okay, let's pick 6 things. Because really our project this year is building the garden. And next year it can be growing lots of things. And I think that happens in business. Like you have times where it's like, I'm going to focus on this and build this, and then I can expand and then come back. But I've been thinking a lot of my grandmother was really the one that got me into growing things. And she lived in the city. She had this tiny little lot. And actually, she borrowed this strip of land along her garage. She had a detached garage from her neighbor to grow. She grew hot peppers, tomatoes, basil, and I feel like there was something else, but like those 3 were always on there, right? Was the
Mhm.
hot peppers, the tomatoes, and the basil, and string beans. And we would go out there and we would tend it. And when I was little, I thought this is amazing. She has all these plants, but now I think about it, I think it was like 2 tomato plants, and a couple of hot peppers, and a basil plant because it was. I think it wasn't even as big as my desk. But she took what she had and she used that to then make more stuff, and she swapped with people. She had a friend who had a very big garden, and they collaborated and made things. And I think of how many lessons I've learned just about gardening and life, and building my business from this is all I have and I need some more. So what I can work with my neighbor and we can collaborate together. And then at the end of the season, she would always bring her neighbor, where name was Raleigh. She would bring Raleigh some tomatoes and she'd bake him some things and whatever. And that was their deal. And it's like, it's a perfect setup, right?
Mhm.
So I have appreciated having you on there and helping you like hone your vision and really grow this, because there's so much talk about healthy eating and this and that, and eat this and don't eat that and do this. But when it comes down to it, it really is that taking ownership of what you're doing and finding a way to make it work for you. And I think that that's what you do beautifully. Of it's not these heavy, intense workouts that you're going to not be able to walk by the end of it, and they take 2 hours to get through. It's just enough, and you feel it. I have to say, I did her fitness for several months. I'm thinking of getting back into it. My life has just been too crazy, but you feel it, and it is, you are really stretching yourself, but at the same time, it's not overwhelming. And I think that that has been the beautiful thing of seeing your business grow, but also you taking charge of this, lead funnel scale, and going in there and saying, okay, this is what I need to do, and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make it simple so that I can do it.
Yes. And that's the thing too, because there's so much that it offers that
Mhm.
some days I'm in there and I'm like, ooh, but you can't let the squirrels kind of get in the
No.
way. You have to focus on the things, because once you, and I'm seeing more people opening my emails, more people clicking on the links in my emails,
Mhm.
like it's building, and
Mhm.
you need to be consistent and give it some time. But I'm seeing the growth. My YouTube channel has grown by leaps and bounds just in, a few months. And I have over 10,000 views now. I put up a video like 2 days ago and I have already 100 views over it already. And I'm not even really doing that much to push that. But if I start sharing that more, like, so little bit at a time, I'm
Mhm.
building. And it's the same thing with the people that I work with, and, sharing like how to eat healthy, how to move your body. Like, I'll tell people, if you don't have time, just get up after a meal and go walk for 10 minutes or move around your house, put some music on
Mhm.
and dance. Like, even if you're standing up doing the dishes and just kind of moving a little bit, like, that's movement and that's a start. You don't have to run a marathon. Like,
Mhm.
you know, and with the eating, like, if you can't make over your whole pantry, in
Mhm.
most people can't afford it, but you don't have the time either. So let's go through it a little bit at a time, and we'll start swapping things out a little bit at a time. And what do we do with all these vegetables that you get if you do get a CSA box? I'm going to start doing videos when I start getting my boxes to show people, like, this is what I got and this is what I'm making, because people get these boxes and they're like, I don't even know what to do with half this stuff, you
Yeah.
know?
I have to say that's one thing that because we moved like to our homestead, and that's one thing that I miss, which seems crazy because like I said, our garden just got extended by a third of an acre or whatever, and we grow most of our own meat and such. But still, I think that even though there are weeks when it was like, gosh, what am I going to do with this? Like, I wanted peppers and tomatoes, and I have all these mustard greens and weird Asian, food, like greens and different things that they put in there. But I had to learn how to do it. And it was somewhat of that challenge that we didn't always like what came out of it. But there was that challenge and that excitement every week of what are we going to get this week?
Mhm.
And really enjoying it. When the tomatoes ran out, you were happy to have the tomatoes ran out because you'd fully soaked them in.
Yeah.
And it was so much better than, trying to get things from the grocery store. So I do miss a little bit of that surprise element
Yeah.
now that I control all the vegetables that come into
Yeah.
my house. But so you obviously have a lot going on. You moved to a new state, you have a new house that you've been renovating. I've been
Mhm.
following that. If you watch her YouTube channel, you can see a bit of the progression of her kitchen
Kitchen. Yeah.
there, or lack thereof in the beginning. You didn't even have a kitchen in the
No, we
beginning.
didn't.
So it's amazing what you've been able to do. And then I know you're active in your community and have chickens and starting a garden. So there's a lot going on, right? And it's
Mhm.
springtime, which is busy, and there's a lot going on in business. So, what is a tip for balancing it all? Because amid all of that, you're not just getting convenience food, like you're cooking from scratch, which a
Mhm.
lot of people might feel is completely overwhelming. And they might think, well, if I were that busy, I could just get takeout, or it's very tempting to just say, I want to just order a pizza. We have lots of food issues, so we can't do that. But there's so many nights where my husband's like, what are you making for supper? And I'm like, can we just order takeout? And I know it's completely impossible, but there's so many nights where it's like, I just want to pick up the phone and order a pizza.
Mm-hmm.
So how have you found balance there in, first of all, like when life is crazy, keeping up with your business, but also fitting in the fitness and the eating in a simple way, so that you can have the energy to keep doing the business and the garden and the
Right.
renovating your house?
Well, I mean, it's just me. I'm single, and I have an adult son that's staying with me right now,
Mhm.
helping me with the renovation. So I'm not doing it alone, but we are doing
Mhm.
all the work ourselves. So,
Mhm.
but it's not like I'm cooking for a big family.
Mhm.
But I do cook everything from scratch. I mean, we've even started making bread, and we're going to make tortillas this week and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really not buying much at all. We made homemade Cheez-Its the other day, which are actually super
Ooh.
easy and really delicious. Um, so, and I started experimenting with sourdough and all that. So, I mean, some days if I'm super busy, it might mean that I'm eating leftovers or I'm just taking, you can do rice or pasta. I do gluten-free pasta mostly, but rice or pasta or baked potatoes and fill them with beans and
Mhm.
whatever meat maybe you have cooked and some vegetables. I mean, so there are times when I might throw something like that together quickly. Um, and then I try to do a lot of really simple stuff. We do a lot of chicken. I'll do like sheet pan chicken. Or we do a lot we found a really great place that has local beef from a
Mhm.
local farm up here in New Hampshire. And so we do a lot of burgers or like ground meat. And, I do a lot of kind of throwing things together. I'm Italian and I grew up in a big Italian family with a lot of really good cooks. And I am one of those people that goes without a recipe often. I think you do the same, right? And you just kind of throw things together. So I do a lot of that. Um,
Mhm.
but I think being grounded in your faith is really important to me. And I know that that's true for you as well. And that is really one of the biggest things. Like if I have a day that's really overwhelming, sometimes I just surrender it all over to Jesus and say, okay, you're going to help me through this. But some of the simple stuff is taking some deep breaths, getting outside, as long as, I mean, even on a cold day, I try to get out a little bit. But now that it's spring, the weather's great. If you
Mhm.
can get outside, and I try to start my day in the morning outside. When I first get up, I let the dog out and I go outside with him because why not? He's going out anyways. I might as well go out with him.
Mhm.
Spend a few minutes outside. The sun is shining. I look at the sun. I soak it in. I take a few deep breaths. Listen to the birds chirping in this spring weather, and it's just pray. Say some prayer. It's just a great way to start your day, and um, sometimes everything on the to do list doesn't happen. So sometimes I
Mhm.
might give it to God and say, okay, what do I absolutely have to do today? And because getting overwhelmed, you're going to get stuck and then you're not going to do anything. So
Yes.
I find that if I pray about it and say, okay, God, what do I really have to do today? And what can I put off till tomorrow? Can be really helpful. But not getting good nutrition and not drinking enough water in the day is actually going to slow you down.
Mhm.
So, try to take a break. If it means that you throw a quick salad together for lunch, or, it is a quick like sheet pan meal with, you can take chicken and vegetables and throw them on a sheet pan and have dinner in 20 minutes, you know, if you need to. So, but you really need to. And make it healthy food that you're eating, lots of fruits and vegetables and protein. Avoid all the snacking and the sugar, and you're going to feel
Mhm.
better and you're going to be more productive.
Yes. And I think that feeling better is important because it's easy, especially when you work from home or run the company type of thing, to never take a break,
Mhm.
and think, well, I just need to keep doing this. And at some point, like life will be easier, right? And
Mhm.
I'll just do more. But I have been noticing that the past couple months I've been like head down working, building some things, and it's great, but I definitely feel it.
Mhm.
Not doing the regular stretching, not drinking as much water as I should, even though I try really hard. I have a water bottle. It's right here. I basically take it
Yeah.
with me everywhere. But I have to admit, there's been a lot of days that I've been working long hours and the water bottle runs out, and I'm like, I'll fill it up later. And it
Mhm.
does make a difference not having that with me. So I appreciate all of the great tips that you have given us. And I'm hoping they post that Cheez-It recipe.
Oh, I can share that. I should have videoed it and I didn't, but the next time I make them, which probably will be next week because they tend to go very fast. They're really delicious.
Yes.
But it's a really simple recipe and I think you could make it gluten-free very easily.
Probably. We're pretty good at adapting at this point.
Yeah.
And I am all in favor of just throw it in the pan and make a meal. That is, but my husband always says, he's like, don't get too attached to it because you'll never eat it again. So there's that. But you know what? We do have some recipes. I've started getting organized and creating systems, and I got a little recipe box. And now when we really like something, we write it down as best as I can remember, because I sometimes throw things in and I don't remember what I throw in, but I've been trying to be very intentional about it and thinking, you know what, my children will need to know how to make these things, and it makes them self-sufficient. So writing.
I'm working on getting all the recipes from my YouTube channel up on my blog too, so that people will be able to access them there.
Maybe you can come up with a cookbook, and then we can just have Tresa in the kitchen with us.
There you go. So it's actually pretty cool. I have a lot of my grandmother's and my mom's recipes. And my sister had taken a lot of my grandmother's recipes and put them together in a binder for me years ago. So I have a lot of those recipes. And I try to recreate some of them and make them a little bit healthier. My grandmother used to make an almond, we called it a Mertzet cookie back in the day, but it was kind of like a biscotti. And I've modified it a few different times and turned it into like a grain-free almond biscotti. So I'm still working away at that, but
it's coming. It's
coming. Yeah.
And you know, every good Italian recipe starts with olive oil and brown the garlic. Like you just got to start there and you'll end up with something good. That's what I've just said.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where can people connect with you and follow you and just get to see all of this stuff and learn more about what you're doing?
So I just sort of rebranded and we call my business now Live Well with Tresa. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I do a lot on my personal page on Facebook and on my business page, lots on Instagram. My YouTube channel is called Frugal from Scratch. And my website is livewellwithtresa.com. And there's links to lots of things there. I have a free PDF that's 5 verses, it's 5 scripture verses to transform your wellness. And so it's a scripture verse that has like a wellness tip and a practical application of it. So that's a free PDF that you can get, and that's available on my website.
Great. I will get links in the comments for everybody. This way you can find it and definitely, you know, follow what she's doing. Check out the YouTube channel. Even when I know
new things that we're working on too, that are really exciting. So.
Yeah. Even when I know how to make some of the things that she's been making, I still enjoy watching it, and I pick up some tips of a different way to do it the next time. So thank you for watching. As Tresa said, she is one of my clients on Lead Funnel Scale, and it is my mission to help small businesses like Tresa really simplify, systematize, and streamline what they're doing so that they can keep up with their family, their life, their garden and chickens, and move their business forward instead of being stuck in frustration, banging your head against the wall, and wondering what step to take next, or worse, pouring money into something that's never going to work and you really can't afford to invest. If you are a business that is maybe running everything off of Facebook and just hoping that people see you, or you have a website and you've made some progress, but you never loved it and you don't know what your next step is, be sure to drop a comment or DM me. And I would love to give you a demo of Lead Funnel Scale, and just so that you can see how it can change your business at an affordable rate with all the support, expert coaching, and tech support. So you don't have to go this alone, even if you are a solopreneur working from your unfinished kitchen or your backyard across the country. So thank you for being here today. Thank you, Tresa, for sharing with us. And I go live every Wednesday about 1:30 Central. So I would love to see you here. The last Wednesday of the month, I always have a guest speaker, but the rest of them I'm sharing tips on how to streamline your business to save time, money, and get better results, and marketing tips so that you don't get stuck running on the hamster wheel and not making progress. So thank you again, and I'll see you next week.